first off, how are you feeling? How's it going over there?
Yeah, all good. Lockdown has sort of started to ease off in the UK. Been training a lot more. There's been a few tournaments that started already in the UK, just nationally, just for the British players. So it's been nice to get back out there and sort of get back into a competitive sort of spirit and see some friends that you haven't seen in a while. So yeah, it's kind of getting better, especially after such a weird period of time. These last few months, it's nice to sort of return back to a little bit of normality.
And you're playing on the Progressive Tour, is that correct? Or
I
recently?
was supposed I was supposed to play it this week actually, but unfortunately I had to withdraw. Picked up a little bit of a calf injury last week. So I thought that if I played this week, it would just get a little bit worse. So yeah, I decided to just let it rest this week, and yeah, hopefully next few weeks it will feel better.
I'm so sorry to hear that. I wish we could see you competing on the Progressive Tour because it looks a lot of fun and there's some really top talent in that tournament right now.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of players actually withdrew from it last minute.
Oh, wow.
Um, yeah, so a lot of the players that were supposed to play it actually withdrew. So I don't know. I think it's tough going from not competing and not playing like you usually do to all of a sudden playing back in competition and training full time. So maybe the bodies just need a little bit of time to readjust to it. But there's still a few good events coming up. Jamie Murray's holding another Battle of the Brits
Hmm.
event. This time it will be a team event. So it's
Awesome.
going to be a mix of women's and men's. So yeah, that should be fun.
And are you planning on competing in that?
Yeah, that's in a couple of weeks' time. So it'll be a mix of mixed doubles, singles, and doubles.
Oh, fantastic.
Two teams, both men and women in each team. So yeah, that should be a lot of fun.
That sounds amazing. I really did like watching Battle of the Brits, the first one. I think having the men and women combined would be just another factor to, especially with the amount of talent that Great Britain has for women as well.
Yeah, definitely. I think the Battle of the Brits that was held a couple of weeks ago with the men's, it was such a huge success. I think it was really enjoyable to watch as well. The level and intensity was great.
Hmm.
So to have it mixed with women's will be I think good to watch, and hopefully it'll be the same sort of entertainment and yeah, just as fun.
Oh, of course. I think hopefully you won't get too scared off with the COVID
Mhm.
tests. Obviously, there's been videos of Jamie Murray taking it and all the Brits.
I had one a couple of weeks ago already. It's not as scary as it looks.
Are you sure? I
Yeah.
interviewed Ryan. I interviewed Ryan Peniston, and he was telling me that it's fine for a little bit, but then as soon as I would be scared.
I think that's just men for you. I think they tend to exaggerate a little bit. I think us
Nah,
women are a lot tougher.
I'll give you that. And
Yeah,
you've
I
been,
mean it's not pleasant, but it's
oh, of
not
course.
painful or anything like that. I was freaking out a little bit beforehand, but once it's being done, it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah, you don't have to hold anyone's hand like a needle that
No,
put straight into your arm.
no, it was fine.
Well, you've been tough your whole career. You've been battling some injuries, and you did the behind the racket story, which was unbelievable, by the way. I must admit, to come out and talk about your
Thank you.
struggles with injuries. Can
Yeah.
you talk a little bit about how you've been so resilient to and not be a stranger to injuries, but kind of push through each one?
Yeah, I mean, when you go through a serious injury like I did so early on in your career, it teaches you a lot. That maybe if you had just a clear sort of path and no sort of struggles, that wouldn't teach you the same thing. So, um, yeah, I mean, I tend to look at things now in a different sort of perspective. Um, I have like a really good support system behind me, really great family and friends. So when I did go through that tough time, it was made that much easier because I had, such great support. I had a really good team behind me doing my rehab. So there was a lot of things going for me, and I count myself lucky. I mean, it was unlucky that I got such a serious injury, but on the flip side, I was lucky that I had such great people around me to make the whole process of it go really smoothly. And I think it was maybe a blessing in disguise because it taught me so much.
What would be the biggest takeaway that you can point out when coming back from injury?
Um,
There's a
I
lot of
feel,
them.
yeah, there is a lot. I definitely feel that when you are injured, sometimes you feel like the only thing you have going for you is your tennis. So when it gets taken away, it's tough to sort of realize what other things you're good at, or you sort of feel a little bit lost. So what I took away from that experience is, to dig a little bit deeper and see things about yourself that you're good at when it nothing to do with tennis. And yeah, just realize how many blessings you have outside of the tennis court, and that apart from tennis there is still so much going for you.
And looking at that at a whole perspective, it seems like you've definitely found that. I know you've talked about in the past that you've been doing an online fashion course. Are you still doing that?
Yeah, I'm still doing it. It was something that, over lockdown, I wanted to keep a little bit busy. The tennis was taken away, so I thought I would start that. I'm usually quite busy, so it's difficult to do that usually. So I thought it would be a good time to kind of dive into that, and I really enjoy fashion. I express a lot of interest in it, so yeah, it was something fun to do over lockdown, which was a pretty boring time.
Well, everyone's kind of losing their minds, so I think you staying
Yeah.
focused on that is really cool. And was there anything in particular that you knew you wanted to do in fashion, or was it kind of just the overall aspect of it?
Yeah, just the overall. I mean, it was just something to sort of take my mind off things a little bit and show an interest in something else. But yeah, there's nothing sort of specific at the moment. It was just a good sort of distraction for me.
What's your favorite brand?
Oh, that's a difficult question. I love Louis Vuitton. I mean, that's a luxury brand,
That's a
but
very luxury. I wish I had a piece of that.
last year I treated myself to a handbag from there after
Look
I
at
had a good
you.
run at Wimbledon. Um, yeah, no, I've never really kind of treated myself to anything that luxurious before, so I thought, why not?
Why not?
So yeah, that was a nice sort of treat.
The big bag or like the small purse type?
A big like a handbag, yeah,
Oh, okay. I
yeah.
personally I do not know the difference, but I'll take your word for it.
First a wallet, and
Yeah,
then I don't know. In America, they kind of I think they call it
and
differently, but
it's very different. Though it's a language barrier, but it's the same. the You've talked about being fierce and you being determined. How has lockdown kind of made you focus on more of yourself or your game? Has there been any change with that?
um, I think in lockdown, because a lot of things were taken away from you, you didn't have access to certain things like gyms and a tennis court. It kind of forced you to you had to be really self motivated. So I mean, the first week of lockdown, I really struggled. I was upset, obviously, that a lot of the tournaments were cancelled. But after the first week or so, I kind of got myself together and tried to come up with a routine that I could do every day. So I was doing, a lot of home workouts in the garden. I'm lucky that I had a spacious garden where I could do a lot of fitness there, and I was doing a few hours of that every single day.
Mhm.
And I was also doing it with a friend on FaceTime, so I was trying to make it as enjoyable as possible because it's difficult. It was a lonely sort of time, so to be able to do that still with a friend, it kind of felt like you were doing it together.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, I think it just kind of forced you in a position of really digging deep, and in a period of time where you could kind of feel sorry for yourself and get in a rut of not doing anything, being self-motivated really, really helped me. And yeah, I actually ended up enjoying it
Of course,
because
and it's
I spent a lot of time at home with my family, which I don't usually get a chance to. So
mhm.
there was a lot of positives to it.
This is I it seems like a collective agreement with all players for that matter. When you don't travel and something like this that has never happened before, you haven't spent this much time with your family. Do you think this is the longest time you spent with your family since being on tour?
Yeah, definitely. Especially my mum and brother, like when they don't really travel with me, so it was
Mhm.
nice to all be at home, and we ended up doing stuff that we don't usually do together. We were so lucky with the weather, especially for the UK. We had such great weather. It was sunny and hot, so we were able to do like a lot of barbecues at home,
Nice.
play a few games, just watch some movies together. So it was nice, and yeah, it was a positive spin to a negative situation.
Of course. And was that like the biggest thing that you missed, just spending time with your family, essentially?
Yeah, I mean, I love traveling and I love competing and playing tournaments, but sometimes you do miss home. And yeah, you get used to it, I guess, because it's part of your job. But it was definitely nice to spend time at home and be with all my family. Also got a new puppy over lockdown, so
Just like
um,
everyone else.
yeah, I know. I was looking at everyone's Instas. I was like, everyone's getting a puppy. I mean,
Everyone has like a small dog.
yeah, it was the best time I think to do it because we were all at home, so we could train him well and do all that kind of stuff and not leave him and when you have to go to work or whatever. So yeah, it turned out really well.
Well, it's going to be weird when you have to go back to work and start traveling, and you're going to have to leave the dog at home because it's not going to be your dog anymore. It's going to be your family's dog.
I know. But I mean, we have another dog, so she sort of looks after him. She's the sort of mother hen,
Okay.
so he has a bit of company.
Okay. So he has someone to look up to and someone to put him in his place.
Yeah, exactly. Put him in his place.
There you go. You didn't go to secondary school, correct?
Yeah,
Is that considered high school in the
yeah,
States?
kind of. Yeah. So yeah, after I think I was 11, I finished primary school, and then I went straight into homeschooling.
Mhm.
It was a decision we made as a family. I think it would have been really difficult to excel in both. So I think you had to either choose one or the other. Otherwise, you kind of doing both sort of half-heartedly, and it's difficult. Um, and even when I was in primary school, I was doing like half days or 3 days a week, and then doing training for the rest of the week. So even from that young age, my main focus was tennis. So yeah, we decided that I could do tennis full time and then also take my studies on the road with me. So it worked out really well.
How would did you ever think about college? Because I feel like that's such a broad question, or such a it's determined on at an early age for you guys whether or not you're going to go officially pro, or kind of gradually move into it, which some people have.
Yeah. Um, I mean, I was approached by especially a lot of American unis
Hmm.
that wanted me to play for their teams and stuff. I never really thought that college uni was my sort of thing. I mean, there's loads of players, especially from Britain, that have gone to America and enjoyed it and loved it, and which is great, and they still carry on playing after they finish. But yeah, I never thought it was for me. But yeah, I mean, I had nothing against it. It just wasn't part of my plan.
Oh, of course, and it's not against the universities. It's not against the colleges. It's just more of a personal preference to see how you would play, and you
Yeah,
definitely showed how talented you are on tour. So yeah, I think you made the right decision. But that's not my opinion. That's your opinion.
yeah. I mean, everyone is individual, and everyone has their own sort of route to what they want to achieve. But no, it looks like great fun. I know loads of, like I said, I know loads of friends that have gone to the States and played for college tennis, and they've had a great time. So yeah, it's it's a great choice if that's what you want to do.
Yeah, of course. I think to kind of wrap up this interview, I wanted to ask you what your favorite memory on tour was. If there was a particular match, or if there was a particular tournament that you enjoyed, or something that just makes you smile when you think about it.
Um, I think definitely Wimbledon last year.
Hmm.
For now, that is my highlight. Getting to the quarterfinals in the mixed doubles was such a like fun experience.
Hmm.
Just being in that environment every day as well. Because I played qualies of singles,
Hmm.
and then I was in the last week of Wimbledon, so I got to experience like 3 weeks of
Wow.
Wimbledon every day. Just even going there and training, and just being in that positive environment with all my family and friends and team.
Hmm.
The fact that we won a few matches as well when we were wild cards, and both of us have never played mixed doubles before, so it was
Oh,
a new
wow.
experience for us. But I think that added to why we played so well together and why we did so well. We were playing really good doubles before that. So yeah, definitely when I think about Wimbledon last year, it puts a smile on my face, and that's why I was so sad that it didn't happen this
Yeah.
year. So I was looking forward to try and repeat it. But yeah, I think next year Wimbledon will be great. Everyone's missed it so much this year.
Yeah, cross your fingers that this is going to blow over soon, because
Yeah,
who
no,
knows at
definitely.
this point, which is,
So I hope so.
yeah. How would you, before we leave, I have to ask, I've played on grass before. I personally have played on grass before, but I've never played on Wimbledon grass.
Mm.
What's it like?
I mean, it just looks picture perfect. Like
Every time you step on the court.
even when you go up close, like the grass is just immaculate. I've played at different clubs on grass courts, and they're decent, but it's just nothing compares to the courts at Wimbledon. They're just, you know, everything's the same height, and the grass is perfect. I mean, obviously as you go through to the end of the tournament, a bit of the grass gets a bit worn out at the back. But in general, the grass is great.
But yeah, I would love to try the Q next year. I've heard. Did you go as a kid?
To Wimbledon?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. I went there as a kid, and I got to go into the players' lounge, into the VIP area. So that was really cool.
Look at you.
Yeah.
So fancy.
I was training with the late Elena Baltacha at the time. She was a really good friend of mine as well. So when I think I was about 8 or something, she got me like passes into all areas in Wimbledon, and I got to go onto centre court as well. So that was a really good like childhood memory for me.
Yeah.
And yeah, something I won't forget.
She was your coach too, correct?
We worked together for a little while when I was about 16. Yeah, she was great and amazing person, and yeah, we worked really well together. Yeah, she's very much missed.
It's very sad about what happened to her, and she definitely offered you a variety of coaching tips and techniques that we could talk about for hours. But when it comes, what was the main thing that she offered besides her experience?
You know what, it wasn't even the technical side of things and that sort of coaching advice. It was more of who she was as a person, and everything she did, she gave 100%, and she brought such a fiery, bubbly personality to everything. And just, you know, she always gave 100% on court, even as a coach, you know, even when she was retired. So to see that from me, I was quite young at the time, to see someone behave in that way day in, day out, relentlessly, was a big inspiration for me. And yeah, she was an amazing person. She had such a big heart, on and off the court. So yeah, I think she would have been an amazing role model for a lot of young girls.
I love it. And Eden, I really appreciate you coming on to talk to us about your career and your tennis experience. If you guys want to follow Eden's journey and listen to her story, I'll leave the links to your social medias down in the description below. So Eden, thank you again for joining us, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.
Yeah, no worries. Thank you for having me, and yeah, have a good rest of the day too.
You too. Take care.